Well, hello. I'd like to say hello to everybody that has been listening, and thanks. Occasionally, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that people are actually listening to these videos that I'm creating. This video is going to be a bit different. I'm going to tackle a subject that most people are afraid to even talk about and are not even sure what's going on about it, and that is swine flu. Now, let me start by saying that I am not for or against the health reforms that are being put forth by the administration, present administration, and I, in fact, am very leery of some of the language involved in these, the efforts that are being put out in the bill that is being presented in the health reform system that they are trying to create. One of the things that I'm very concerned about in the language, and believe me, I'm the first one to say that our country needs some kind of health reform. We have one of the poorest health systems in terms of taking care of our own in the world, aside from the fact that there are nations that have no health system whatsoever. In what I'm referring to is those countries that do have health systems. Ours is not really at the top. And that's pretty obvious if you look around. Now, in saying that, and in pointing out the fact that I do believe we need some kind of health reform, the present effort that is being made to bring health reform is something that I am concerned about. And in short, I will just simply say there is language in the bill that is dangerous. It is ambiguous and pretty close to just totalitarianistic thinking, brought about by perhaps fear or maybe something more insidious. I'm not going to say what. I do know that the language I'm referring to, at least one in part, is the concept of forced inoculation. Forced inoculation is something that we need to face and look at and wonder, is this necessary? Are we willing to give up the right to say no to something that we perhaps may not believe is good for us, even though in view of the fact that there is a disease. Now, let's get back to the subject in hand. Swine flu. Now, swine flu is called a pandemic. It is something that we are supposed to be afraid of, yet obviously, I mean, we're beginning to hear the fact that more people die annually from regular flu in the 30,000s than this flu has killed in the last year, which has been, a number of something like 7,000. Now, I received an email recently, and I want to share that email with you. And this email is very telltale. The email I received was called Evidence of the Actual Origins of the 2009 Pandemic Influenza with a Glimpse into its Esoteric Symbolism. Now, this is by sent to me by a friend, and the piece is by A. True Ott, PhD, ND, circa 2009, all rights reserved, dated 8/29. Now, I'm sharing this because it was shared with me, and I think this is very important information for everyone to know. In March of 2009, the World Health Organization, WHO, and the Center for Disease Control, CDC, announced an outbreak of swine flu in Mexico and in Southern California. Within a few months, the outbreak increased in scope, resulting in the WHO issuing a Level 6 pandemic alert. Both the WHO and the CDC announced in April that the influenza virus responsible for the pandemic is a novel triple reassortant virus that contains H1N1 swine virus with H5N1 avian virus and human flu virus H3N2. Press releases sent to the major media outlets of the United States, Canada, and the UK further declared that such a triple virus, quotes, had never been seen before, that it was, quotes, novel. In other words, completely new. There is a website, http all that, www.cdc.gov/H1N1 flu /background.htm. This information is patently and absolutely false. According to the CDC's own magazine, now let me repeat that, according to the CDC's own magazine, emerging infectious diseases, outbreaks of a novel reassortant triple virus have been occurring since 2005. These outbreaks were just as significant as the California and Mexican cases, but for some reason, it was not reported in the mainstream media. Think about that. In the September 2008 edition of the CDC's own EID journal, the story of the 2005 diagnosis and patient history of the same swine-bird-human virus, now identified as the 2009 novel swine flu, is well documented. 3 short weeks after receiving a standard flu shot, a 17-year-old boy in Wisconsin comes down with influenza symptoms. Cultures taken from the boy, however, show that he is not suffering from a normal flu virus, but rather has a novel triple virus consisting of avian, swine, and human viruses. Now I want to stop right there for a minute, and I want to point something out that I believe. How on earth could 3 viruses having nothing to do with each other, human, swine, and avian, combine? What in our environment would have caused these 3 viruses to become one? Now, my impression is that viruses are very much like any other organism. They act to survive. Perhaps there was a consciousness there that acted to survive and became a combinant. I personally believe there is no way in hell those 3 could have come together without some kind of help. That's just my opinion. Now, I will go on. The authors of the CDC's published report are quick to not place any blame on the vaccine being the cause of the disease, but instead declare that the illness was most likely due to the boy assisting in the butchering of a number of pigs 3 days earlier. However, further sampling of the area swine herds did not result in obtaining any novel flu viruses, and the boy only, and no other individuals doing the swine butchering, was infected. Moreover, the question of exactly how the boy obtained the H5N1 bird virus is still unexplained, nor even asked within the article, even though the boy was in close proximity with a live chicken that was eventually sacrificed in a religious Jewish ritual in the home. This fact was ruled out as a possible source of the bird flu strain. This was likely due to the fact that the bird flu strain originated in turkeys and not in chickens. And there is another website. Now, I'm going to refrain from websites. There's a buku websites in this story, so I personally just think the information is what's important. Upon closer inspection of the story, in other words, following the footnotes, some very interesting facts become known. 1. The novel strain of swine avian human flu was completely absent from any sampling of swine and humans from 1930 to 1998. Then, out of nowhere, the reassortant triple virus appears in North America swine herds in 1998. What could have caused this to happen so suddenly? 2. Researchers discovered that the reassortant strains infecting the pigs were entirely human in origin, meaning they didn't mutate naturally in the swine population, but were introduced into the pigs by human intervention. There are also websites to this. If you want these websites, contact me. I will get them to you personally. This researcher concludes that the new virus was introduced by humans into the pig herds, not vice versa. It is common practice that modern CAFO swine farms have strict sanitation standards designed not to provide protection to the humans entering the facility from catching diseases from the pigs, but rather to prevent the pigs from becoming infected by outside humans. Moreover, these massive corporate CAFOs, confined animal feeding operations, are constantly injecting the pigs with vaccines and steroid drugs to elicit rapid weight gains and growth. After all, in the CAFO industry, time is big money, and the pigs must get to the optimum market weight as quickly as possible. These vaccines could easily explain how bird viruses mixed with human viruses, ended up in the blood of swine herds in North America instantaneously. Moreover, virus DNA is more apt to mutate or draft when exposed to steroids or growth hormones, such as those routinely injected into large corporate farm swine herds. Human interjection.